Hey guys, Johnny Jenkins here. Got a really cool question from a fan here. Hunting Bros wants to know. He says, I fish at a neighborhood pond and the water is murky and the weather for this week is all in the 80s and it's basically really flooded and there's a lot of trees that are flooded and stuff, and he wants to know what he should throw and what color. Now first I want to go ahead and get into this with saying that color, I just dictate it by the watercolor. So water's high, probably going to be at least stained, and it may even be muddy. And in ponds, I personally really try and stay away from really muddy water in ponds, especially. Personally, that's just something for me. If it's red, if the water is like red mud, it's tough. It's real tough fishing usually. So for that kind of deal, the color, I'm going to use a lot of chartreuse, yellows, chartreuse and white, black and blue, fire tiger where it's got green, yellow, and orange in it, and I think or white, something like that. So those are the kind of colors I'm going to use a lot of. Black is a real good color too. Stands out really, really well. Now here's the baits that I'm going to try. I'm going to mix it up with fast-moving baits and slow-moving baits like I typically would anytime. You got to realize when you're fishing flooded conditions, the fish scatter out. So if you're going down a bank in normal conditions, a lot of times what will end up happening is you go down and you'll either find where you'll go down a bank and you'll catch a fish here, you'll catch another fish right next to it, and then you'll go and you'll catch a couple more fish and stuff, and then you keep going and catch a couple more fish, or maybe you'll or something like that. But typically when the water's high, especially if it's still rising, what you'll find is you'll catch a fish here, and then you'll go and you'll catch another fish here, and then you'll go and you'll catch another fish here. Yeah, they're just real scattered out. That's typically how it works out. So that means that you need to cover water, but you need to be real efficient in what you're doing. With flooded conditions, I want to get as shallow as I can. I want to get as shallow, close to the bank as I can. Those fish, they want to go to the bank, especially in the spring and summer. They want to go to the bank. So I'm gonna try and do that, and I'm just gonna fish topwater frogs, because they're real good about being able to skip underneath docks and bushes. It's an ultimate power fishing tool. So when you're fishing those flooded conditions, you're gonna have a lot of cover, and you need something that you can fish and not get hung up and not get this and that. So another thing, if I'm gonna fish slower, a Texas rig or a jig is gonna be real cool, real good deal to do. Now there's a couple different things I want to do. I'd like, when it's real flooded and fishing laydowns, I like to have one Texas rig or jig that has a big weight on it, 3/4 to a 1 ounce deal, where I can punch through matted grass, or I can get it around these trees and get the big weight to hang over the branches and the trees and stuff, and just let it fall straight down and have a vertical presentation. Killer deal. Not many people do it around wood. Really, no one does it around wood. Hardly anyone does it around wood, especially with a big weight, and that vertical presentation like that, real key. But then there's other things. I like to have like jigs and Texas rig in smaller sizes so that I can fish a little bit slower, and because in the dirtier water, the fish, they feel with their lateral line, so it's good to have something that falls a little bit slower, something that's a little bit bigger profile. So a jig is really good. If I have high water, dirty water, I'm going to pick a jig over soft plastic almost all the time. So I like a jig in like a 3/8 to maybe a 1/2 ounce size at the most. And just skip it around, get it close to the bank, get it around big pieces of cover, underneath bushes and docks and trees and stuff like that. Now if you're fishing flooded conditions and you don't have a lot of trees and stuff and things to get underneath and things like that, a buzzbait's fantastic. Buzzbait's really good. Spinnerbait and chatterbait's another really cool deal. Really gonna catch you some fish. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. Remember, this is a question from a viewer, so if you have your own questions, you can come down in the comments below, ask your questions, and once again, I'll get to them as soon as I can. This has been Johnny Jenkins. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.